Oh, you're. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Apologies for the Wolfman. My floaty head does not seem to be working, so we're going to go with Wolfman tonight. Richard's been fantastic. He has done nothing and not turned up. So we've got Julie. Hey, thank you, Julie, very much for jumping in. And we were going to have Julie on as a co-host tonight, but yes, that didn't happen. So we're going to just run with, hi, Julie. How's you?
Hi, MathPig. Thank you for having me.
No, always, Julie, always. Yourself and Junk Shop are very welcoming on your own channel. So, of course, why would we not have you? And you know yourself, we all love the bones of you. So,
we love you too.
Julie, we will just start. For anyone who does come in here that doesn't know who Julie Lavoice is, unfortunately, Richard's description. So, no links for Julie. Critical cripple. Do your thing.
Dave, save me.
So, Julie, let anyone know who doesn't know who you are.
Okay, hi, I'm Juile Lavoice. I mostly do, I've got a YouTube channel, Juile Lavoice Wine and Reason. That's and ampersand, not and, it's a ligature. Anyway, and I talk about, and I drink some wine and I talk about things that bother me politically or socially, often dealing with gender issues, feminism, LGBTQ IA plus rights, and religion, because it pisses me off. Ex-Catholic, ex-neo-pagan, I'm an atheist. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And tonight I'm drinking whiskey because we're out of wine, so sláinte.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Dave's texted me saying the audio's wrong, so I'm trying to fix the audio. It should be fine now. It should be fine. Yes, Julie, and as anyone who doesn't know, Junk Shop is your partner, and he also has a channel as well. And he does IMPROV Bible studies as well as Mental Health Wednesdays, isn't it now?
Yeah, they do. And Junk Shop is non-binary, so they prefer they them. And it's been interesting because, and I'm not calling you out there, MathPig.
No, that's fine.
I did it like twice while we were talking backstage. When you meet someone, and it's a fascinating thing. If you meet someone as a she or as a he, and then later, they discover this thing about themselves. What I've found is that people really appreciate it if you try, and they understand if you fuck up once in a while because it is a new thing. You're like, it's almost like when someone changes their name. If they get married or something and change their name, it takes a while to really cement in your head.
Yeah. Like Junk Shop knows that there's no malice in anything I say. I'm just stupid.
No. Yeah, no. They would never think that.
Yeah, as you say yourself, it just takes a wee while to get used to, and yeah, no.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I'm their partner, and I still fuck it up sometimes. So it happens.
So Julie, this week you also do a couple stream. We've been talking about doing a couple stream. Yes. So that tonight may end up being like a wee. Improv Junk Shop's going to jump on, and possibly Manda as well. So may end up the four of us, and I don't know, the couple stream that we've been talking about may end up happening.
Oh, that's fantastic! It's the double date couple stream. I'm so excited. I don't know about you, MathPig, but like just this kind of interaction, I think it saved my sanity during this whole pandemic.
Yes.
Because if I didn't have my online friends and the online community, and I don't mean to separate y'all there. You're my real friends. We just haven't met in the flesh. We will one day. I will get back over to the UK at some point, and I will come to Ireland because I need to. I've always wanted to go.
No, well,
So how's it been for you? Have you? Is there anything similar for you about that?
Well, not to be selfish, but I'm quite enjoying it. I'm getting paid to be at home. I'm getting to spend time with Manda. At the minute now, I can see myself going back to work quite soon because everything has been started to be lifted over here. As I mentioned to you before we went on stream, I went for the walk today on the towpath, and I haven't seen that many people on the towpath in months, and even possibly in years, because it was so busy today.
Wow. So people were really getting out and enjoying the summer weather, I guess. Hey, Manda.
Hi, Julie.
You look beautiful. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. So do you.
I thought of you.
Oh.
Just out my shirt.
Very nice. I'm wearing my MathPig shirt. So.
Oh, right on.
There you
Very
go.
Cool. I need to get one of those.
MathPig merch is available in the description. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I just set that up. You knocked it down. There we go.
Mug too.
Oh, nice.
I mean, come on,
Okay.
when your boyfriend has merch, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So.
I know. Actually, I was just saying this to Junk Shop last night. I was like, all of our friends have these amazing. We were talking about your logo in particular, Amanda, and we were like, all of our friends have these amazing, logos they've created for themselves. We should do that sometime.
You know who did my logo? Who loved logos and artwork for the community is Easism Works.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, Easism is amazing. Yeah.
if you asked him, I'm sure he'd love to do it. He loves tinkering. It doesn't take him that long either. Although my logo, him and MathPig argued about for a while. So.
I love yours, and I thought it was great when you clocked Junk Shop's purple nail polish the other night, because they were like, it's so cool that she noticed, and I said, well, have you seen her logo? I think purple might be one of her favored colors. I'm just going to throw that out there.
It's my favorite color, absolutely.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. The stem there of my non-whiskey glass.
Very
Not
nice.
how you're supposed to drink whiskey. Thank you, darling.
Yeah,
Hey, they're here. Hang on.
Yay!
Yay! Yes, indeed. All right. Oh, fiddlesticks. Move over a bit.
Oh.
All right. Are we both mostly in there?
Yeah.
Yes.
What in heaven's name is going on in the top left?
My floaty head broke, so I'm using the backup software, and the backup software is too sensitive, so it's hung. So this is what you get. All right, you can have this, or you can have this. This is a little bit more entertaining. I'm generally not this hairy, though.
No, he's not.
I've just noticed, just to say hello to everybody in the chat for turning up, we've got two gods in the chat tonight. We have God and we have God the Good One.
Hey!
Oh, all right.
Hey, guys. Yes.
Overwhelmed with deity.
Awesome. And they're ones we can actually prove exist, so that's cool.
And strange story, I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but for the people who don't know, Rab1 in the chat, I've probably known I've definitely all of his life anyway. His mother used to babysit me when we were little babies.
Aww,
Oh, my goodness.
that's sweet.
I'm surprised your mother hasn't turned up again.
I know. I forgot to get hold of her phone and change her fucking screen name, though, because she comes in with the full surname and everything, and it's like, Ma, you're doxing me. You're doxing me.
Had you not called her mom, nobody would have known. That was your fault.
Well, no. She did say, no, she was very motherly in the chat, or else it would have been creepy.
The Scathing Atheist guys did a Mother's Day live stream, and they had all of their moms on, and Heath Enright, that's his handle, I'm not doxing him. Heath Enright's mom was doxing him left and right because she kept forgetting to call him Heath and kept calling him by his actual name. The one she gave him.
I call MathPig his like, I've never said his last name, but I say his first name all the time, but everybody knows.
Yeah, well, that's why we blame my mother. I'm trying to figure out, do we call her Pork Grandma? Or I was going to go Pork Mama because she's my mother, but, Pork, your mama, so we can't use that.
I'm kind of Pork Mama, so at least Santi calls me Pork Mama. So.
Grandma, we'll call her Granny. Pork Granny.
There you go.
Have something. Anyway, so we MathPig and I have been talking about this for a little while, that we wanted to have a couple stream with you guys, so we're very happy that we could do this finally.
Yeah, me too.
Glad we could be here.
Yeah,
Glad to be back in the air conditioner.
I was excited to see you be up against Richard, but I'm happy to have this as well. So
I was scared to death, honestly. I was trying to remember all the mythology stuff I used to be into when I was a pagan, and I was like, am I going to be able to even make, because I have Richard's paper, and I've read some of it, and it's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
Yeah,
and he does know his stuff. I can absolutely give him that. Like, he knows his ancient mythologies for sure. I don't know if he'd appreciate me saying mythologies, but that's how we all understand that. Okay, cool. No. Yeah, I don't say that to be mean. It's just but it's a lot. It's intense.
Mm-hmm. It is, and MathPig's been dealing with it alone for so long.
I know. I've watched some of those streams, and I'm just like, oh, MathPig's a fucking saint. It's intense.
But I mean, he obviously has patience if he's with me anyway. So
Why? I have no idea what you mean, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's fucking lucky, and he knows it.
I am damn lucky, and I do know it, and I tell her it as much as I can.
I know.
I'm sorry, Daryl. I'm gonna. Sorry. Yeah. I apologize. I broke in on your sweet moment. I was trying to maneuver so that I'm not like this.
So Junk Shop, you said that you're happy to be in air conditioning. Was your air conditioning not working?
Not outside, it wasn't.
Oh, well.
I had to run a couple of errands, and it's about 300 degrees and 90% humidity out there right now. It sucks.
Yeah, that's how it is here. But living in Arizona, when it was like 115 degrees, I'd still prefer that because it had no humidity and you could breathe. I mean, it was hot. You could cook. You could bake cookies in your car. Like we've actually done that before. We put a sheet of cookies on the dashboard of the car and leave them in there for a few hours, and they'd be baked. It's fine. But
oh Lord.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It was that hot, but it wasn't. It's surprising when you first get there, but after like a week, you get totally used to it. But here, I mean, it's like 87 degrees here today. But again, same with you. It's like almost 90% humidity, and it's fucking awful. Like you can't go outside. The pool is a bathtub. Yeah.
Right.
Why is that fun? Swimming in bath water? It's just not. So
it's not. It's horrible. You walk outside and it's like walking into a wet wool blanket that you're also supposed to breathe. It's awful. And my skin loves it though. Is the messed up thing because I've been to other places in the south. Like I was in Colorado once in the summer and it was amazing. It was like 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but you didn't feel it, as you were saying, talking about Arizona. Like it wasn't a muggy heat, so it was amazing. But my skin gets dry anyway, and I was just like, I could not have enough lotion. Like there was not enough to keep up. And so apparently,
you have to find the right lotion too. I get it.
Well, you know what I use. I use what my black friends recommend, and it's
cocoa butter.
Yeah, cocoa butter, exactly.
Yeah,
and it smells good, and it works great.
Yeah,
so,
it really does.
And it's also not expensive. It's not like the weird, what I call in my head, old white lady lotion, where it's like the really cool brand that's super expensive.
Bath and Body Works.
No.
It's not very moisturizing, but I just like the smell. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a body spray.
And for $9 a tube, it ought to smell good.
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck that. I smell like what's cheap. We discussed this on the quiz show the other day. If it's a pound or less, I'm getting it. A pound or less, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've got a bottle. I'm pointing like you can see into my room, into our house where you can't, it's off screen. I'm sorry.
Thankfully, you cannot.
That's probably the best. There's a bottle of cocoa butter lotion sitting on my floor that's like a 1 point. It's many ounces. It's like a 16. I forget.
It's like half a gallon.
It's like a 16 ounce.
Ridiculously huge.
Yeah, and
cocoa
it was
butter,
like
you can get huge bottles.
Yeah, and it was like $3 at Kroger. So I didn't even have to like go to a big box store to get it. It's just right there. It's awesome.
Ugh, I hate Kroger's.
Oh god, I
do too,
but they're right across the street, so it's like,
We have Kroger's or Walmart, and I will not shop at Walmart. So I'm kind of.
I don't. No, I won't shop at Walmart either. I hate it, and they treat their employees like shit.
Going to Walmart was like a day outing, like an experience for us when we went to America. Because before we went there, we'd seen pictures of 50-stone women with like chickens in them and, doing things in Walmart. And it's like, what are we going to see in Walmart today? Let's go see what we can find in Walmart.
There might be a redneck couple in a fight. You never know.
There's a website called People of Walmart.
People of Walmart. Yes.
Is it?
Upload pictures of crazy shit they find at Walmart, and it's not nuts.
It
No,
is.
I also thought it was very
Especially
funny.
in the South.
When we went to Florida and there was a fishing rod, and then right beside the fishing rod is like a 30-inch fucking machete. It's like, okay, have a machete,
Oh, yeah, and-
get a fishing rod,
and-
you know?
Yeah.
Were they selling guns? Because our Walmart also sells guns. Like, I went to get my fishing license, because you can also get that. The last time I went fishing, I went with my dad, because that was our thing when I was a kid. Like, he'd take me fishing. And, and I've discovered since that I don't like it anymore. But it was, but the last time I went to get my fishing license for the day. So we stopped at Walmart, and I went back to the back area to get the fishing license, and that's where they sell hunting licenses and all the guns.
And the tires.
And
All
tires.
the guns.
Yeah, and tires. So, you need tires, you need guns, you need a fishing license. It's weird.
But that's strange. Over here, where you buy the tires, being in that business, where you buy them is where you get them fitted. It's strange to like buy them and then bring them somewhere to get them fitted.
Right?
So you can do that as well. They have tire shops that you go in, but they're usually more. You can get them cheaper at Walmart. Honestly.
Yeah, and some Walmarts will actually put the tires on. The one out near my parents' will. It's what they call a super Walmart.
Yes. It seems unnecessary to call it a super Walmart, to be honest with you. Though.
Yeah, we call it like mega
When
stores.
I was younger, these like 12 to 14, I used to work on a farm. It was one of my best friend's farms. It was just hay, and we would our job was to get the hay on the truck and then put it in the loft. And then she had a pond, so afterwards we would go and sit at the pond and fish. But neither of us wanted to touch the fish when we would get it, so we would bring like a towel and like hold it down to pick it out and throw it back in. That way.
Didn't want to touch the fish.
And then you figure out eventually, or the realization I came to the last time I went was, I'm just torturing this poor fucking fish. I think it was the same one that bit my leg.
Yeah. It leaves a hole where, it's not like it rips a hole in their mouth, and then you're scaring it. Just, But
when I was a kid, my
fish.
only experience of fishing was like your basic, I'm a kid, catch and release kind of deal. And then one summer we went fishing with some friends of my father's, and we caught, I don't know, it looked like half an aquarium to me, but I was about 6, so it was probably about 5 or 6 fish. We took them all back to their house, and I couldn't figure out why. And I thought, well, maybe they have a tank. And we took them out on the back porch, and the Reverend said, okay, reach in there and grab me one of them fish. And that was an interesting endeavor, because some of them had spines and some of them were really fast moving. But I got one out and I handed it to him. Wham! Down on the cutting board. Big ass knife. Whack! Off goes its head. Another big ass knife goes in and all the guts come out. Here we go. Now we've got dinner, he said.
Oh.
Oh, poor child.
I had no fucking clue what was going on, but I can still hear and see and smell that clear as day right back in the old brain pan.
I don't know.
And now I keep them as pets, so,
lot of
avoid that
See,
up as you will.
Well, at least that's a good way. It's quick, it's clean, and it gets the job done. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you had the
Yeah,
fish, there was
quick.
nothing went to waste. Me and Manda had this discussion, I think it was last week, about field mice and things like that. Being over here, growing up and back doors laying wide open and things like that out in the countryside, you get the odd mouse in the house and trap, leave it down, the glue. And Manda is like, oh, I would just take the mouse and just, put it in the bin because I didn't know what to do. And I was like, you hit it over the head with a shovel.
Oh,
I just couldn't, but then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this poor mouse is stuck on this trap in the garbage. Like, I feel awful, but I just could not bring myself to kill it. I just couldn't.
Honestly,
I'd rather kill it than have it, die slowly of starvation and thirst in a plastic bin bag in a dumpster somewhere.
Thank you,
that's
Junkshop.
Yeah, the gross thing to...
That's very relevant as well, because I had pigeons at work, and I shot one of the pigeons, and it didn't die because the wee fucker moved at the last minute, and he sort of just clipped him, and he went down and he walked out into the car park. So I shot the fucker again and made sure he was dead, and then when I went over and lifted him, is brain dead, and still firing, and it fucking, his wings went off and everything in my hands, and it was like, I put the pigeon out of its misery. The pigeon
Well,
went out of its misery. That's the best thing to do.
I don't know.
Well, I talked my dad into, because we grew up not in the country, but in a very small town, and so we'd get mice in the house all the time. And I talked my dad into, instead of the snappy traps, which are actually really humane, but 9 times out of 10 they break their backs and it's really fast and they're done. Mm-hmm. But that freaked me out when I was a little girl. I didn't like it. I didn't like killing the mice. So I talked my dad into getting some of the traps that were like catch mice and then release them away from your home thing. But the thing is,
the little like spiral shutter that just slams shut and they're trapped inside the little plastic jobby.
This one was it was a little plastic box that had a sliding door that you pushed it up, and then there was a pressure plate, and you put we'd use peanut butter because they were always getting into the fucking peanut butter anyway, so we figured, hey, let's go with it. They like that. So we'd put peanut butter on the pressure plate, and then they'd go and they'd lick it, and the door would slam shut. But we didn't always check them often enough. So it's worse. I know, it's so much worse. Yeah. So we did check it.
What is that smell?
We found a live mouse inside. We took it, down the street to a big field, and we let it go. And the poor thing came out of that trap, and it was drenched in sweat. Its fur was all sticking up, and it was just trembling. It was clearly traumatized and terrified and didn't know what to do. And it was dehydrated. And I was like, Dad, you can go back to the snappy traps. It's fine.
Yeah.
I feel bad now.
That was the thing. The reason I had to get the mouse traps is because they were getting in my car and they were eating the upholstery and stuff. Yeah. It was like a family of mice. So when I told my father about it, so he was like, I'll put some traps in there. And he got the snappy traps. But the first one that snapped, just fucking blood and guts just everywhere all over the floor of my passenger seat. So, yeah, it was pretty awful. I didn't even know he had put them in yet, let alone knew that because I figured he would get the some kind of humane trap or whatever, because he had used those in the house, but he got the snappy trap for my car, and it just made such a huge mess. So I went and got the glue trap, but then just could not bring myself to hurt the mice.
Yeah, so you let it slowly die in the bin. You let it slowly suffer and die in the bin with a glue trap.
Well, I didn't put it in a bag. I just put it in the trash bin that, goes. So at least it probably had food and stuff for a little. I know I fucked up, okay?
Oh, yeah. It had food and stuff for a while until the compactor came.
Let's all stop guilt tripping Amanda about the trap. Okay. You know better now.
Love you.
We all fuck up.
Well, saying this is a couple stream, supposedly, as we'll go with that there, right? Julie, Junk Shop. I obviously know how me and Manda met, but how did you and Junk Shop meet? I know you were married, as you mentioned before. You were married before, and how did you end up with Junk Shop?
Oh yeah, that's a funny story.
If you had to guess, you'd probably get it right, because we worked at the same bookstore.
With my bookstores as well.
Some quiet days at the bookstore.
I want to make it very clear that we did not see each other or date. I mean, I thought they were hot, but nothing went on. I was faithful until my divorce came through. That just on principle for me, that was something I needed to do. Plus, I needed 6 months to, more in the 10 years of my life I'd given to a bastard. So, no, he's fine. He just, he's far away from me, and that's how I like it. So that's fine. But yeah, we all worked at the same bookstore, and I worked in the cafe part, and Junk Shop worked in the book part, and so every morning he'd come in and he'd buy. They'd come in and they'd buy they were heathen, so it's messing up my head. But they'd buy a tall coffee, and I'd say, and I'd try to just give it to them, which we technically were not allowed to do. That was stealing, but
yeah.
And so it was like literally like it was a buck something, So I and they never once took me up on it. And they were like, oh, thanks, but no, I'd rather pay for it. I'm like, okay. And I was like, is this what integrity looks like? I think I'm saying integrity.
I would have taken the free coffee, but you know.
Yeah, right. I mean, I would have too, and often did. But yeah, I mean, so it was nice. And then that bookstore shut down, and we made some of us got together and decided to do not including my ex, he didn't want to do it. So some of us, including Junkshop, decided to do a book club that was a ex-employees book club. And that's still mostly going on. The pandemic, we haven't met in a long time, but that was still going on up until the pandemic hit. But that was when, and then I was going through my divorce, and then I was like, hey, you're nice. I like you. You already know how fucked up I am because you've listened to me cry over my ex for like months now. Yeah, and so then once my divorce was final, they asked me out, and I think we started.
And the rest, as they say.
Yeah, so true. But our first date though, we just met for coffee, and then we shut down the coffee shop.
Oh, hello, giant dog.
Hello.
Lord Almighty.
Oh, she's Leia.
Okay. Beautiful. I've never seen her before.
Yeah, this is Leia. She's German Shepherd Chow, and she's all of a sudden excited to say hi to me, even though she's always by my side, so I don't know what that's about. Okay.
Well, she just needed some extra love.
Okay. Sorry, we
shut down the coffee shop, and then we went to have dinner because by then we were both hungry, and then we kissed goodnight, and I felt it in my toes.
Oh,
that was weird. Yeah, it was a good. I was like, okay, well, we're compatible there. That's nice. Yeah. And then we,
continued to date,
and fell in love ridiculously fast to the point where we were both a bit terrified because I was worried that I was rebounding. They had just gotten out of a serious long-term relationship as well, and so we were both very concerned about that. And we communicated a lot, which I think is good. And probably why we ended up getting married and we're still together.
We did too. Can I tell our story, honey?
Yeah, go on ahead. Yeah. There's a lot of it's quite reminiscent, you know. But go on ahead, yeah.
Okay, so before I had my channel, I stumbled upon his. I think Dave was going to watch it, and I thought I liked the name MathPig because I'm a scientist. I like math, so.
The name works for me for some reason then.
What?
At least the name works for at least one reason then.
I think I watched a couple streams before I even said anything. And then somehow, I had been asking about, I needed artwork for my channel. And he popped up and offered Sal's help. And then we ended up texting for a little bit. And and then I went on the Daily Atheist morning show. It was the first time he ever saw me. But at this point, we were pretty much texting constantly, even when he was at work. So it was, but just like you, it was fell in love very, very fast. I even remember the first, he wouldn't say it for a while. He would just sing to me, which was very adorable. And he tells me how that was his way of saying "I love you" without actually having to say the words. And then one night at 4 o'clock in the morning, which was 9 o'clock in the morning for him, so it was, we'd both been up all night. The last thing he texted was, "I'm falling in love with you," and then he took off. So it was very cute. That
is awesome. That's so great.
Right? Am I wrong about any of that, honey?
Oh no! I'm just going to agree with all of you because your memory is better than mine.
It is.
I like that.
Sound policy regardless.
Yeah.
I agree with you because as Julie mentioned before, there is worries and stuff like that there that people put upon you. Not that I have that, communication is key and things like that, because a lot of people know that, I was in a relationship before and things like that, but that doesn't take away from how fast or how quick or how intense this is with Amanda. Like, it's,
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we covered a lot on our first date. Like I said, hey, I'm going to be 35 soon. I don't want kids. And I knew that they were younger than me. I didn't know that they were 6 years younger, but I knew they were younger. And so I said, if you're looking for a family, I'm not your girl, and they leaned back and kind of steepled their fingers and said, I always thought I'd be a very good uncle. And I said, I can help you out there. I've got 9 nieces and nephews.
That is adorable. And
they all love their Uncle Junk Shop over here.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't even remember most of them don't remember the other guys. Only like the 3 oldest remember the other guy, and they don't like him on principle, so it's fun. Manda, I need to stop talking shit about that person and move on with my life.
No, it's totally.
Well, Lena's
totally
just.
valid.
Lena's only. She turned 3 in February there, and I know she. Every time I get hold of her, the best thing I can do is just grab her and go outside. Like, we were at my mum's the other day, and we did the tour of the beehives. I had to go around every one of the beehives. And I'll send you pictures, Julie. She's fucking going closer than me. I'd been stung, and she's a foot away, and I'm like 6 foot away, and I'm getting stung. And it's like, come away from the hive. Come back from the hive. I want to touch them. Pardon?
Honey, weren't you also shirtless?
Yes, because she wanted to get into the digger. She wanted to get into the digger, and for some strange reason, she has no problem with any insect except spiders. I'm blaming her mother because her mother's afraid of spiders. But there was a spider web on the seat, and she wouldn't sit on the seat. So I had to take my shirt off to put it on the seat so she would sit on the seat so she could drive the digger. Now, not drive it, but, move the knobs about and play with it and stuff like that there. And yeah, the digger's maybe 20 foot from the fucking bees as well. It's like, yeah, just fine. Just fine here. Can we go walk in the fields instead, Lena? Yeah, let's go do that instead. And then she found cows and tried to climb under the fucking gate to get in with fucking cows and calves and bullocks. It's like, no, don't do that. Get away. Oh, but I want to pet them. I want to pet them.
I do love that you're raising her to not be afraid, though. Because to this day, I am terrified of like bees, wasps, anything that can sting me. I just and I know it's an irrational fear. I know that if I just stand still and chill out, they're just gonna fly away and go do their bee wasp thing. But instead, I'm like, get away from me! And I freak out, and it's not good for my blood pressure. And it's definitely not good if you want them to leave you
big
alone.
massive bumblebee sitting in the garden there last week, and she went straight up on top of the thing and is poking it that hard she's near squishing it, but. No fear, not a problem. See, the hives, she thinks the hives are great. When we had them stored up when we were for moving them, she would go over and knock the side of it so they would just go crazy and make like a humming noise. She's like, buzzy bees, Daddy. Buzzy bees. It's like, stop hitting the bees. I have to take them out in half an hour. They're going to be pissed off. Stop hitting the hive.
Stop hitting the bees. That's so great.
There was a moth died in the windowsill the other day, and I was dusting and I noticed the moth, so I took the moth down and I left it there until she woke up, and then I gave her the chance to play with the dead moth, so she was fine with it. And then you can go out into the garden, and before the end of the day she was chasing butterflies and poking them, and it's better that way. Be outside, get dirty, jump in.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, that was one great thing about growing up where I did. It was such a small town. It wasn't super rural, but it was, it did have some city. It had 1 mall. It had 4. Technically. Yeah, you lived there for a bit.
Qualified as a mall.
It had 1 community theater that we were both involved in, except at different times because we lived there at different times. And then it had 4 Catholic churches. I think a Methodist one and an Anglican one.
Oh, the churches all over the place because it was the South.
It was the South. Yeah, but it was nice.
You got to have churches. They're landmarks. How do you find your way around a town without a church to point out?
You don't know.
Churches and Starbucks. You go down 2 blocks, you turn right at the Presbyterian Church, you turn left at the Starbucks.
In Ireland, you go by the wonky tree, you go down the road, and you take a wee left there, and then you go on down that road a bit more, and there's the hedge, right? You see the hedge that has the blackberries on it. Now, if you get to the wonky tree at the fork of the road, you've went too far.
Yeah.
That's like way in the country where my folks grew up. So yeah, I know a little bit about those kind of directions too.
Julie, if you can see your Twitter, I sent you
where the old stump used to be. And you take a left where the old stump used to be.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore because they finally pulled it out, but it's the old
in 1975.
The hill
And of course the old joke is if you pass the hound dog on sleeping on the side of the road, you've gone too far. That's the joke.
The road that I live on actually has a name, but it's known as Minnie's Hill or Winnie's Hill or something or whatever the fuck. I don't know because I'm not local. But you talk to any of these people and you tell them the name of the road, they don't know what it is, and then you're like, Winnie's Hill. Oh, no, it is. That's a pub at the end of the road that has gone about 80 years. The pub's gone. The pub has been converted into a house. A nice, lovely, modern house. But everybody around here just still calls it because it's the name of the pub at the bottom of the hill that doesn't exist anymore. It's like, okay.
I love it.
I grew up in a country town, but it was Connecticut, so it wasn't like, I don't want to say backwoods like the South, but you know what I mean. It was posh country, whatever the fuck. But it was such a small town that we had. When I was really young, what you would put on, letters and stuff, you wouldn't put the name of the road. It was like, I remember mine was Rural Route 1, Box 64. So it was just 3 different rural routes around the entire town. That's how small and country it was. So
that is tiny.
When I was growing up, our phone number was 3 digits. That's
really?
Yes.
Wow.
Our phone number was.
You live in a tiny, country though.
Well, in saying that, if you wanted to phone our number, you would have to put 3 digits in and then another 3. So it was technically 6, but the first 3 was the same for absolutely everybody around. And if our next door neighbour or people in the very close area typed 3 numbers, they would get us.
Ours was the first 3 numbers were the same for the whole area, and then there's 4 numbers after that. Well, then there's also 3 numbers before that for the state. In fact, we had 1 prefix number for the entire state up until I think I was like 9, and then it got split into 2. It was 203 and then 860. So
yeah,
ours gets small.
I don't think ours covers the whole state, but it's definitely the greater. It doesn't. Okay, yeah, but it's definitely the greater area. So you've got the area code, and then you have your own 7-digit number.
Am I the youngest here?
Past 7 yet?
Am I the youngest here? Yeah. And turning 30.
Probably. I'm 42.
I think I'm a little young. I'm about to turn 36.
Oh, yeah, I'm just about to turn 37. When's your birthday, Junkshop?
Yeah. August.
I'm the very first day of August.
They like their older women, I guess.
I said there's nearly just a year between me and Junkshop because my birthday is the very first day of August. The 1st of August is my birthday.
No, they like older women because we know what we're doing.
Exactly.
Just saying.
This is actually the first time I've ever dated someone younger than me, so it's kind of
Me
weird.
too. It's funny because my sister and I both ended up eventually. Obviously, I had one marriage that didn't work out, and that's actually fine. Yay, divorce. But my sister, she's only been married once, and so her husband is 5 years younger than she is. Mine is 6 years younger than I. My dad is 6 hours younger than my mom, and so we have a joke now that mom started it with the younger men. It's her fault.
That's adorable.
It really is. They were born many states away from each other, but they were born on the same day, same year, just 6 hours apart.
Oh.
My mother tried to have me and my brother.
That's probably too much personal identifying information, and I shouldn't tell that story online.
My mother tried to have my brother and me as close together as our birthdays could be, and I was 2 weeks late and came out a wee bit blue with lack of oxygen, and the brother came out 2 weeks early with jaundice, so he was yellow, and there's basically 2 weeks between us.
Oh, well, together you made green.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That had to be very stressful for your mother.
Well, she was happy because her birthday's in September. Ours falls within 2 weeks of each other in August. And then my stepfather's birthday, his falls 3 days after my brother's. So it's like we have just this 3 or 4 weeks in the middle where it's birthday's done, dusted, set, sorted.
Right? I was born on one of my grandfather's birthdays. And he was always so cute and so sweet about it. He always said I was the best birthday present he ever got. So nice. But yeah, he was a sweetie. I know. I miss him. And then I have a nephew who's within two days, I think. It's either 2 or 4 days of our birthday. So it's like we almost had 3 generations born on the same day. That would have been so cool.
And saying that, now, I watched a lecture one time where they were talking about statistics, and they asked the people the probability of getting someone randomly whose birthday was very, very close to you. And I think they set the limit at like 6, and taking out the years and just going by the dates, you know, going around the room, the probabilities just shrunk, and it was very, very quick that you would get people within 4 and 5 and 6 days of yourself. It's just our idea of the fact that it's so random. It can't be. You bring enough people into it. I think there was only 80 or 90 people in that lecture, and within 3 rows it started to repeat itself, and people were saying the same. You know,
statistics is fun. Like it's people don't understand that probability is insane. You know.
Yeah, I always find.
I think you're right, and we do tend to look at things as like it's pareidolia. It's that pattern seeking thing. So I would be thinking, you know, oh, it'd be so cool if, you know, there were 3 generations in the same family born on the same day, when really that means nothing. Ultimately, I mean, it's like we're all here. That's the important bit. Like beyond that.
Oh yeah. Sorry, go on ahead, Junkshop.
Oh, I was just gonna say I watch entirely too much flat Earth debunking content online.
God.
And one of the things that I know that's your absolute favorite topic, isn't it? And one of the things that that a lot of flat earthers like to bring up is, well, they've run the numbers, and the probability of us being here in these particular situations is 1, to the 10 to the quintillionth power over 5 to the 17th Google plexillionth, and I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's 1.
Yeah.
Because we're here.
We're here, damn it.
One that I always find is good.
That drives me so nuts.
The one I always find is good is the traffic lights. You know, and the chances of you hitting all the green traffic lights on the way home and this, that, and the other, you know, the odds are exponential. It's such a great giant odd. But if you figure out the local speed limit for them roads and you stick to the speed limit, they're actually designed for you not to stop.
Yes, they are. That is very true.
You know, so
as well.
Yeah. So it's not that it takes the magic out of it, so to speak, but it's like, instead of flying it as fast as you can to get there, and you're going to end up sitting there and waiting, just drive. And you know, when you get there, it'll go green.
Yeah, just drive. Exactly.
How many accidents have been caused by that guy or that one person? We've all driven near this person, unfortunately, who like cuts you off so dangerously close to speed up to a light that changes, and then you're both sitting there stopped, and you look over at them like, really? Was that worth risking your life for? Because I know it wasn't worth risking my life for.
To gain that 1 car length.
Yeah.
It's like, drive like a normal person. There is nothing that makes you drive like Mr. Toad. Just drive.
I think that actually did happen when I was on the phone to you coming home from Londonderry last week or the week before. There was a Vauxhall Insignia pulled in front of me, and I shouted at the fucker when I was on the phone to you. Like, did the exact same thing as you said, Junkshop. He overtook me to gain 1 car length to get caught by the other 4 cars that were there ending. It was a dual lane going down to a single lane, and he's flying past me at the last 200 yards just to get in front of me to get stuck behind the other 4. It's like, there's no point to that.
No, and it's what drives me the most nuts about it is they don't think about the safety and the personal cost. Like, they can't, I mean, I know they can't know you, they can't know who you are, but not only would so many people be just grief-stricken, your daughter wouldn't have a dad anymore. You know, and I think about that every time I drive, because I'm like, no, I don't ever want to take anyone away from anybody. I don't want to, I'm committed to nonviolence, although sometimes, flat earthers, but I'm committed to nonviolence. But it's like I think about that whenever I drive, because I don't want to ever be responsible for someone. I'd like to die without ever having killed anyone.
Don't get me wrong.
Just a personal goal. I'm not judging. Like, I'm not talking about soldiers and things like that. But it's just a personal goal of mine. You know,
I sit here judging. I don't want anyone to think that I'm thinking of myself as a fucking saint, because every speeding point that I have ever got, I think it was 2018 or 2019, was the first year in 5 years I didn't get points for fucking speeding. Like, you know, I do drive, and I enjoy the speed, but I have went on courses. I have done rally courses and things like that. And she's rolling her fucking eyes at me. If you're going to drive, you drive safe, and you don't drive outside your limits.
Yeah, don't drive outside your limits.
You know, my story, you know why that upsets me. So,
and saying that
when I was 15, I had 3 friends die in car accidents within 6 months of each other. My friend Troy died in one, and then my friends Maddie and Sarah died in their own car accidents 6 months later. So cars and speeding and all that shit just fucking freaks me out.
Yeah, I had a couple when I was about that age. Yeah,
and that was from again statistics. We were a tiny fucking town. Not only that, but all 3 of them lived within a tenth of a mile from my house. So,
well, most car accidents I think happen within 3 to 5 miles.
Disproportionate amount of the pie chart there, especially as you get into smaller and smaller towns.
Well, Critical Cripple's deliberately trying to get me in trouble. He's deliberately trying to get me in trouble in the chat by asking, have I ever been banned from driving? Knowing the exact answer to that fucking question is yes, I was banned from driving before I got my license.
Yeah, but you seem fucking proud of that.
He asked the question, I did not bring it up, and yeah, maybe I am a little bit proud of it. I don't know. I'm
sorry, I missed the first part of your sentence. Who's causing trouble in the chat?
Dave, yeah.
Dave, of course Dave is.
Oh, of course it's Dave. Silly me. Why did I even ask?
Whenever I get into the car with my wee girl now, she asks for the loud music, which is Rage Against the Machine. We turn it up full blast, and she does tell me to drive faster. She loves the fucking speed. She's just, yeah.
You're raising her right with the music.
Oh, yeah. No, she's a Metallica fan since she was, like, I used to feed her to live Metallica when she was just born. I would put Metallica live concert on and then just feed her to Metallica. And for a long time, whenever she would be here on a Sunday, we would get up, we would spend hours just watching live concerts. Iron Maiden, Metallica, Megadeth, Frank Zappa, Pink Floyd. Yeah, listen to daddy music in the Sunday morning.
Oh, sorry.
Every time I think I can't like you anymore, you pull out some shit like that. Yes, I'm going to Pavlovianly condition my daughter to like heavy metal with food when she's a baby. That's fucking awesome.
You're perfect.
Oh, let me see if I can.
He didn't listen to anything but my music until he was like 13, and then after we moved here, he met some friends and he listens to some of the newer shitty music. But he was like Queen and Nirvana, like a lot of the 80s or 90s alternative stuff, and Queen, and he has this Nirvana hoodie that he literally wears every fucking day. Even like now he just wears it around the house because it's too hot to wear outside, but he wore it every day to school. Like I have to wash it like 4 times a week. It's his favorite thing in the world. So
I wanted to ask you about that actually, Amanda, because I heard you talking about Nirvana, and you know we're roughly the same age. And so Nirvana, I do have a soft spot for Nirvana because they were big when I was in high school. But I like the Foo Fighters. Don't be angry. I like the Foo Fighters better.
No, I understand.
Okay, sorry.
They have more music.
Elena likes the Foo Fighters as well. Elena's mother's massive into the Foo Fighters, so when she wasn't listening to Metallica, she was listening to Foo Fighters.
Well, and also, I never got to see Nirvana in concert. Mm-hmm. And I've seen Foo Fighters in concert, and Dave Grohl just rocks. I mean, he is amazing.
He really is.
Yeah. So it's not with like any hate for Nirvana. It's just I really
It's just for me, Kurt's like his lyrics just spoke more to me.
Right, and that's usually what I find that with people who are like blasphemy, or when I talk about liking Foo Fighters better than Nirvana. And it's like, well, no, I get it. Because for me, the artist at that time for me that really seemed to speak to me was Tori Amos. So I don't know if you remember her, but I was oh gosh, I had all the posters. I had all the. I mean, I wanted to drink her bathwater. I would have been perfectly happy.
Well, it's like with me. I like Tool, but his other band, A Perfect Circle, which is it's like Tool light. I like them better than Tool. As much as I love Tool.
I love Tool.
I like his orchestral scores.
Yeah, I like Perfect Circle.
Perfect Circle, I can't really get into. Never could.
There's one song though, A Perfect Circle, or that A Perfect Circle did, and I forget which album. I'm sorry, and I can't remember the name of the song. It's so disturbing, I can't listen to it.
Really?
Because it's about a guy who kidnaps a nurse because she has keys to a pharmacy, and it's also kind of suggested that he's also keeping her for other grosser reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not bad enough, and like it just starts out, say hello to the rugs topography, because he's basically got her tied up on the floor, and I can't listen to it. I'm like, that I can't.
Never heard that one, but no,
so
that's totally understandable.
What's weird about it is it's lyrically beautiful. That's the interesting bit. And then, but if you really dig in and listen to what the lyrics are saying, it's freaking horrifying. And I love horror. I love horror movies, but I can't listen to that song.
There's a song, I can't remember who it is or the name of the band, but one of my son's best friend, Dom, introduced it to me. And it's pretty much this guy is in love with this woman that wants to leave him, so he kills her and then fucks her, and then she brings her back from the dead, and then she kills him. It's pretty horrific, but it's kind of catchy. So
yeah. At least she kills him too.
Yeah, that's she does end up killing him too. But it's interesting.
Listen to the turnabout is fair play.
Exactly.
Well, Junk Shop got to say. I'm sorry, you were going to talk.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I was a wee bit of a goth. Whenever I hit high school, I had sort of just left the church, so it was a whole rebellious sort of thing going on as well. And as Junk Shop would know, being around the same age as me, I'm not sure where it was over him, but Satanic Panic, you know, if you're listening to this, that, and the other, and the records played backwards and stuff like that, and I went full-blown goth. I had white face, black nail varnish, black lipstick, long coat, which is actually hanging up over there.
Yep.
So hot.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so hot.
I had 2 or 3. I had a woolen one when it was really. I had the woolen one for when it was really cold. I also had a sheep's leather one, because a cow's leather one was too warm for the summer, so it looked the same as the sheep one. Had to have that there, and I was Cradle of Filth. What do you call it? Oh, Danzig, Cradle of Filth, Slayer, all into that for a long, long period of time. And
finally got to see Cradle of Filth in concert a couple of years ago. Out of all godforsaken places, they came to Memphis, and it was amazing.
Was Danny? Is Danny still in it?
And they got to take one of our nephews.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, say again?
No, is Danny still singing in it and it's all? Because I haven't kept up with them since.
He's about the only one who's still in it. That they do that revolving door of everybody else. But yeah, Dave Pybus came back for the tour that I saw it, and Danny's still the lead singer, and they've got a new album coming out in like a couple of months.
I went to see Metallica there last year, last year. And Metallica I've seen now, I think, at least 7 or 8 times. I've lost count. Metallica is my favourite band, and the only band I would actually consider getting a tattoo of. You know, tattoos are important, and things that only should mean things. You don't just get any old silly thing, but excuse me, definitely Metallica.
Agreed.
They were my second band. My first band that I seen live was Audioslave, and what do you call that silly band? The Darkness. They opened for them. The Darkness and Audioslave, and then a week later we had Slipknot and Metallica.
Ooh,
that's awesome. My first band I saw live.
You talk about tattoos. I have the Godsmack sun on my shoulder, but I mean I liked the band, but the sun is really cool, and I got it when I was in school for astrophysics. I got a few astrophysics tattoos. But it's just
a great logo.
It's gorgeous, so that's why I got it.
Yeah, I used to listen to Godsmack as well.
Godsmack, when they do a great song, it's a great song. Like, it's not a band I listen to extensively, but the really good songs are great.
Junk Shop might remember this then. I was just randomly suggested, I was doing listening to old music and stuff. I'm trying to work on a silly thing. I'm working on a mixtape for Manda, and I'm listening to old music and stuff like that there, and I got drunk and went and gave her all my good songs, and I played 7 of what I'd already worked on one night when I was drunk, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, ruined it, start all over again. But YouTube suggested to me Mudvayne Dig. Do you remember Mudvayne Dig? The band was Mudvayne. They were like a Slipknot ripoff. The lead
saying, like poor man's Slipknot. Yeah.
Yeah, poor man's Slipknot. It was like, fuck me, I haven't heard that tune in so long. It was like Mudfiend. They were crazy people. Crazy music. Oh, yeah.
He texted me out of the blue to ask if I would be offended if one of the songs had a reference to a blowjob in it.
Well, what'd you say? Out of curiosity.
Go ahead.
What? No.
So,
we were dating. You made me like 3 CDs, and I just like
of the most random.
Oh, it was awesome. It was everywhere because, well, you know, when we met,
just for the record, one of those CDs included the old song "Little Old Lady from Pasadena."
Yeah,
I love the Beach Boys. I love the fucking Beach Boys. Christmas music is the Beach Boys, so that's okay.
That is fine. Well, what they were we were doing a lot of driving around in my car because when we first met, they didn't have a car, and so and Memphis is not a great city for its public transportation system, as you can attest to.
Yeah, that's an understatement if ever I heard one.
It is. I mean, if you go to a bus stop and somebody tells you this bus be late, they mean it is perpetually always late. Like it's an actual phrase.
Yes, that's not a dialect thing. That's a statement of truth in fact.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so it was.
I require cigarets and margarita, so I'll be back in a minute.
Thank you. Ooh, actually, I respect that. Yeah. So we're driving around in my car, and they noticed that I've got like Tori Amos CDs, and I've got Simon and Garfunkel, and I've got all this like old. I love Simon and Garfunkel.
What's your favorite Simon and Garfunkel song?
Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Because I love the Canticle. Oh God, Boxer is number 2 for sure.
I love the Boxer.
The only reason is that I got to teach the medieval poem. And so, like, it's basically the person, the speaker in that song is a ghost who's died of the plague, and they desperately miss their true love, and the reason they're asking people on their way to Scarborough Fair is the name of the song. Sorry, the reason they're asking people going to Scarborough Fair if they're going there and to give their true love a message is because and the message is like, ask her to find me an acre of land between the salt water and the sea strand, right? Which is impossible. All the things are impossible. You can't make a shirt with no seams and no stitches, right? So everything, and basically the idea is that if she can do this one impossible thing, maybe we can be reunited. Which I'm a fucking sap, and I love that. And I love that it was written in the Middle Ages. It makes me happy.
No, I cry far too much.
But their Canticle version that they put out, and it was like during the Vietnam War, and they added that verse. Oh God, it's just beautiful and heartbreaking, and I love it.
One of the best concerts I've ever went to, which isn't even really technically a concert, and I still have the ticket up the stairs. I was so excited about it. I actually was the 3rd person. My ticket stub was number 3 whenever I bought the tickets. Now, it's only a local thing, but you had to hand your ticket in, and at the end you were allowed to go back and get your ticket, and I got 8. I got 8 whenever I got back. I was not happy. I was like, no, my ticket said 3. No, well, 3's already been taken. This is the lowest. I fucking ripped. But anyway, it was Pink Floyd, The Wall, played live at 11 o'clock at night in a park right beside the beach in a wee local town just up the road from where I lived. And it was in the park. The beach is right beside it. It was 11 o'clock at night, stark night, and we had a few drinks, a few smokes, and just sitting there under the trees watching this under the stars at night, being outside. I wouldn't go so far as saying it was
fuck you with affection, but fuck you.
It was
I'm so jealous.
Fucking class. And the picture we actually took of me and my friends at the time, we didn't realise until after we'd taken the picture, but because of the way the lighting was and the fact that we were all dressed in black, it actually looks like a shot from Bohemian Rhapsody. Just the sort of coming down. The shot I'm talking about. Yeah, just the sort of the blackness with the light coming up. It's quite a good shot, but the ticket's still up the stairs.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so jealous. God damn. Only one of my friends, and she's just a couple years older than I. Only one of my friends has ever seen Pink Floyd, because it's been a bit. And yeah, so I only know you're the second person I know who's seen Pink Floyd live. So
it was a live. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't live. It was them projecting on an actual inflatable cinema.
It was like a laser show thing.
Yeah, no, it was an inflatable cinema that you would have. No, like if you go to a cinema screen. Now, it wasn't a massive screen. It wasn't 60 foot wide. I think it was maybe 35 or 40 foot wide, but it's an inflatable screen, and then they set it up and they project it. So it's like a movie outside, but they have this,
Okay. Yeah, I get you. Okay, I take back one of the fuck yous. I'm still a little jealous.
My brother actually went, my brother, when he was younger, went to see the Australian Pink Floyd twice. And I think the actual Australian Pink Floyd performed for Pink Floyd.
Wow.
Weird.
Well, we went to Scotland to see Tim Minchin, so I don't know. Like that's what sparked our Scotland trip was because Tim Minchin got so screwed over in the U.S. that he left and he moved his family back to Australia and back to Sydney. This is all and he was like, fuck it, because he'd spent 4 years and in this working on Larrikins, and it was almost done, and then a company bought Pixar and they just canned it, and that sucked because I would really like to see that movie. But anyway,
Julie, did you check your Twitter?
Huh?
Check your Twitter if you can.
Check my Twitter. Okay, I can do that. But yeah, so anyway, the long and the short of it is, when I found out that he was doing the back tour, and I was at work one day in 2018. And I looked at where he was going, and he was going to be in Scotland, which was somewhere I'd always wanted to go anyway. And tickets were, for both of us, it was like £90, I think, for both of us, and we had really good seats. So I just went ahead and bought the tickets, and then I came home, and I was like, here's the thing: if you don't want to do this, we're out $100. But if you're in, we've got over a year. We could make this happen. Luckily they were in, so we did it. Because that was that was right before the pandemic. That was last November. Oh my goodness!
That's another thing that's quite good about the pandemic, because Rammstein was supposed to play for the very first time this year in Belfast, and the tickets were released the same week that I was deciding to buy my computer. And not that it came down to buying the computer or Rammstein, but if I bought the computer, I couldn't go to Rammstein. And I was like, right, this is, I'm doing it. But because of the pandemic, it's been put off to next year, and tickets are still available. So
yeah, right. I've got a similar situation going on with a live Welcome to Night Vale podcast. They were coming to a theater near me to do their podcast live, and it was supposed to be months ago. And my brother and my two nieces, who are also fans, and I were all going to go, but then the pandemic hit, and their main actor, Cecil, he's immune compromised. He has HIV. So we were like, no, don't do it. And luckily they put it off. So we're supposed to be doing it in November now, but we'll see. The US can't get its shit together.
I'm lucky enough that Elena is very tall. So not that I have ever tried to pass her off as older than she is. No, never. We'll be able to get her into a concert, and I can't wait till she's... get up on the shoulders, go to Metallica, big live concert. Now I'm happy enough. I've done the front row, I've done the crowd surfing and all that. I'll happily just drive down, go in late, go to the back, no crowd surfing or anything like that, because I'll have the child obviously, and let her experience that, and then leave early, not have to stay for the rush at the end. But definitely something I
gotta
tell
you, one of my fondest memories, and you can make fun of me for this if you want, I don't care. I grew up, and all of my older siblings were Billy Joel fans. So everything my older siblings did was awesome, right? So I, except for one of them. So I was like, yeah, I love Billy Joel. And I had almost his entire catalog memorized by the time I was 16. So he came to Memphis, and my dad took me. And that was the second concert I ever saw, was seeing Billy Joel at the Pyramid in Memphis. And it was badass. He was still, fairly youngish and spry. Yeah,
I love Billy Joel, but my ex, our song was a Billy Joel Siley, and we always listened to the first year we had Christmas together. We drove around Atlanta because we both came out here to visit my parents, and just played the Billy Joel Greatest Hits album over and over again. So now I can't fucking listen to it.
I know it's messed up. You get those associations, but that's what music does. You know, it taps into our emotions. It's so much faster than a lot of other forms of art, and it's a communal experience, which is why people can tell you about spiritual experiences they've had, and I'm like, well, yeah, I've had experiences that I thought were spiritual, and then later went to a concert, like a rock concert, and was like, yeah, that qualifies, you know?
No, definitely. I could not survive without music. I was one of those weird kids that had a CD case that would hold up to 200 odd CDs and carried it around with me everywhere before iPods.
I took Angel to his first concert a couple of years ago. So he was 14. And he has to don't yell at me. It was a Dave Matthews concert. I'd always wanted to go see Dave.
I'm not going to yell at you. I would never do that because I just admitted that how much I love Billy Joel. I love piano players. I have a thing.
At least you don't like.
Are you singing a theme?
At least you don't like Meatloaf like Dave does as much.
What?
I was like, at least she doesn't love Meatloaf as much as Dave loves Meatloaf.
I can't say Meatloaf and Dave. That's hilarious.
I like Meatloaf too.
It's something that I'd almost gotten a ticket. I think in '99 he was up in Hartford, and they ended up having a fucking riot, and like they flipped over cars and burned at a fucking Dave Matthews concert. I mean, come on, I don't know what the hell.
That's weird. I mean, I just want to hear "Crash Into Me." Why are you flipping cars?
Right? So we went, and he was, he's not a huge fan, but he did grow up listening to it. So, and since I wanted to see it so bad, and we finally got a chance, so that was his first concert. You can release all sense of embarrassment, because I will tell you the first band I ever saw in concert is a little bluegrass country band called Sawyer Brown, and they were that might be better than mine.
I love bluegrass music.
They were pushing their album. Their new album was called Buick, and the single off the album was "You Don't Know Nothing Till Your Baby Drives a Buick." If that gives you any idea.
Have you ever heard, Julie, of Seasick Steve?
I'm sorry, what?
Have you ever heard of Seasick Steve?
No.
No.
Seasick Steve used to be a hobo and then got famous because he did like a 4-string guitar that he made himself and got famous because of it, and then releases his own music. Some of the songs is just him telling stories about riding the trains, and he rambles off at the end of one where he ends up working in some guy's house and cutting hedges because he's homeless and getting paid for it, and proper, like the same sort of stuff as what you're talking about. Seasick Steve, you would really like it.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I will check it out. I would love that.
Do you have a concert here every year called the Bluegrass, the Guinness Blues on the Bay, and it's all bluegrass music. It's 4 days of concerts, maybe 90 concerts over 4 days in this one wee town. Every pub does free. Every pub has just got a concert going on, just got a band playing, live band, live. It's fantastic. Really, really is good. Like.
No.
I had a surreal moment in Chicago once where my ex and I went into a bar. We were up there for a wedding, and my ex and I went into a bar, and there was a Memphis blues band playing. And I was like, it's like we're home. Are we home? I'm confused. This bar here, and I wish I could remember the name of the bar. I'd totally plug it. But there's a bar in Chicago that has great blues live music, and they had a bartender there at the time, years and years ago. I'm sure she's moved on to other things, but she made the best dirty martini I've ever had in my life. It was fantastic. I barely got back to the L. It was dangerous. Her martinis were too good.
That's me in margaritas. I have a thing with tequila.
Yeah, I don't.
Hold on.
That's a Junkshop margarita right there. Yeah.
The couple I went home with the last time I drank way too many margaritas.
Tequila makes me so sick. I think it's because I don't know when to stop with tequila. Yeah. Everything else I've got to, I know when to stop with whiskey. I know when to stop with wine. I know when to stop with vodka. Fucking tequila, man. Oh my God. It's like I just don't stop. I'm just like, let's do another shot. Sure.
Like,
and then
more mouthy
and then
than
I'm
I already
sick
am.
for 3 days. I'm sorry. Damn it.
Just a little bit.
She said it makes her mouthy.
Oh.
Yes, and but I said a little more mouthy than I normally am.
Oh, I love it. All right, well, I know what I'm drinking with you then.
Hard liquor that I can drink straight. Like I don't really like the taste of alcohol. I can't stand like liquor, like whiskey instead. Gin is terrible. Can't have anything with gin in it.
Yeah, I don't understand. Gin's getting popular over here. Lots of people are drinking gin. It's like, what the fuck?
Crazy. Hendrick's gin is crazy popular over here right now, which is interesting. I don't know why, but it is. It's
because it's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. I mean, it'll, it's all right. It'll
get the job done.
Yeah. You got that nice juniper berry taste.
Did you guys drink a lot of Boone's Farm growing up?
Oh my god. Wild turkey. It was wild turkey.
I didn't drink anything growing up. Yeah. I came late to the drinking game, which probably explains my my sky high values and the threshold below which I will not go.
Yeah, well, my family is originally, I shouldn't say this, we're originally from a state that has a certain county that a certain type of whiskey is named after. You can all figure this out on the line and being cagey. But so we grew up with, like, instead of putting rum in eggnog at Christmas, you put bourbon. When you're making ice cream in the summertime with the home ice cream maker, you put bourbon in it. Also Catholics. I don't know. It's just a thing.
I have never had bourbon ice cream.
It's delicious.
That sounds amazing.
It's chocolate, cherry, vanilla ice cream, and bourbon, and it's fucking delicious.
Yeah. Like putting it directly on it. Yeah.
It's so good. And then of course, red rosé. My parents are very big into red rosé, so they'd buy it. I know it's so cheap and so sweet and awful, but the thing was, they did this really well, I think. I didn't do extracurricular drinking much at all as a teenager, because my parents had this rule that from the age of 12 up, on holidays and special occasions, every kid could have a glass of wine. And so it was, and then we also had, communion every Sunday at church. Yeah. So they kind of taught us how to drink responsibly from a young age, and I think
you're
that's
of
why
Irish descent. Yeah, you just to confirm, you are of Irish descent.
Yeah.
Right.
It was my German and Scottish mom though who did the rosé thing. That was all her. But yeah.
We were allowed a sip of, like, my parents growing up only drank on New Year's Eve, or if they went to weddings, they'd have a glass of wine. But at home, they'd split a bottle of Asti Spumante on New Year's Eve, which they still do now. Now my father drinks a lot, but we were allowed a sip of champagne on New Year's Eve. But I wasn't taught anything, and I started drinking when I was like 15, and did so. Stupid. Actually, the story goes was I told you about my friends that had died in that car accident.
Oh, and sorry, big grin there for a second. I thought you were going to a different story.
No, it's not a fun story. But actually, it is kind of a funny story, because what ended up happening was my parents had they had a few bottles of liquor that probably they'd had my entire life. So I went and just looked for the one with the highest alcohol content, which was Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And I sat in my room on a Friday night, and I tried it, and it was awful, because it's the first time I'd had real alcohol. So I drank I had a can of Pringles and a Pepsi, and I was like drinking the Pepsi, then the whiskey, then eating a bunch of Pringles. I got so fucking drunk, no idea how much to drink, because I had no clue whatsoever. I woke up the next morning, and I had taken my lipstick and put kissy marks like all over my fish tank and my mirror and stuff. And I had a 2 fucking day hangover from that shit. So, that's a funny story.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's hilarious.
Oh, we started in high strata cider.
You were mourning. It's okay. It's all's fair in love and mourning, I think.
Yeah. But then it was like I'd kind of like broken the seal, and even though I was the perfect child up to this point and had perfect grades and all this shit, I had friends that smoked and drank, and I think I started smoking a little bit before that too, because my father smoked and I would steal his cigarettes.
I definitely started smoking early.
Yeah, so my friends invited me to this party on Christmas, and had gotten me they figured I wouldn't like beer, so they got me a little pack of the Jack Daniel's punches, and I drank all 6 of them, and then I went for the beer, and
it's like
not a perfect child anymore.
No, the super sugary like wine coolers and shit, they will give you the worst hangover. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I can't
They're
even.
not great.
I don't like beer to this day. I can drink Guinness, and there's a darker Scottish ale that our little local bar serves over here, and we can walk to this bar. Like it's really cool. It's like within walking distance of our place. We know the owners personally. They're lovely people, and so we haven't been there, of course, in months and months.
Yeah, since March.
Since March. Anyway,
when the whole world went to shit.
When the whole world went to shit, but they're a beer bar. They don't have in Tennessee. You can have a beer license and a liquor license, or just a beer license. And for smaller establishments, they sometimes go for just the beer license. The liquor license is way more expensive. And so they have a beer license, and it's just a beer bar. They don't serve wine or anything. And I'm not a beer drinker, but there's this one Scottish ale that they sell that I like, and I can sit there with 1 pint of that and be there the whole night and be okay. You know, but but other than that, I don't like beer, and I think it's because I was about 4, and my dad was drinking a beer out of a can, and at that point, all I knew was that cans held like Coke, like Coca-Cola, you know, like soda and stuff. Soda for you Northerner, they held some kind of sweet, you know, like soda, right? So So I started to go for the can, and my dad snatched it back. And I have such a vivid memory of this because then I actually watched him think, like on his face, because I was like, "Why? What's wrong? It's just it's a can, you know. Everything that comes out of cans is fine, right?" And I'm looking at his face, and I can see him thinking. And then he puts it back down on the table, and he says, "Go ahead." And I took a sip of it, and I was like, "Whoa, this is so gross. It's so gross." And I just kept saying that over and over again, like how gross it was. And he chuckled, and he was like, "All right, that's fixed." And I honestly think that's why that might be why I never got into beer, was that just very early experience of drinking,
like
I don't know
beer.
what it was, Bud Light or some shit.
Yeah, I cannot drink beer at all.
Too.
Can't drink beer.
When I worked for NASA, the center it was in Iowa, actually, the educational center that I worked in. And so all the kids I would actually get to the point where I would yell at them for calling it pop instead of soda. I don't know why it fucking like got under my skin so much.
I know, right?
So
it's so weird.
Soda.
And then the reverse of that was I felt so ignorant when I got to an age where I realized that everything wasn't Coke.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I love those jokes. Like you'll see in
we're
movies.
From the South,
So yeah.
Do you want Sprite Coca-Cola? Do you want Pepsi Coca-Cola? Do you want Fanta Coca-Cola? Do you want Coke Coca-Cola?
Did you bring Dr. Pepper? It's the only Coke I like. You know, and I do get it. I get a giggle out of it, but it's so weird.
What do you guys call sneakers?
I call them tennis shoes.
Running shoes.
I was raised, and I know that's a misnomer, but I was raised calling them tennis shoes. So all types of sneakers or athletic shoes of any kind, or blanket tennis shoes. Unless they're my Chuck.
I didn't realize that. So.
Unless they're my Converse, and then I'm like, I have my Converse. They're amazing. Oh. No. Yeah, I have a 90s thing for Converse that I will never get over.